May 15, 1941, RAF Cranwell, Lincolnshire. 6:47 a.m. An aircraft with no propeller accelerates down the runway. Engineers freeze, pilots stare. This defies physics. The Gloucester E-2839 lifts at 370 miles. Silent, smooth, impossible. Every British fighter depends on propellers. Spitfires shake violently above 400 meters. Hurricanes choke at altitude. This aircraft has none. It shouldn't fly, but it does. On the grass stands Frank Whittle, thin, hollow, trembling, 17 years of rejection carved into his face. This flight began as a sketch dismissed by every instructor, denied by every manufacturer, ignored by his own government, while Germany armed for war. If this fails, Britain loses. If Germany flies, this first invasion becomes inevitable. The war stretches into decades. Engineers whisper what reports cannot state. One man built the future of flight in a freezing shed with $2,000 and borrowed tools while the Air Ministry funded nothing. Whittle watches the aircraft climb. 17 minutes, his entire life collapsing into seconds. The engine that could save Britain nearly killed him. Breakdowns, bankruptcy, divorce, collapse. Germany flew a jet 2 years ago. America copied his engine in secret. Britain considered canceling him last month. Now the whine cuts through morning air, a sound that will shrink continents, rewrite warfare, and make oceans disappear. The jet engine was born in rejection, starvation, and secrecy. It would shrink the world, but first it nearly destroyed the man who invented it. What happens when the man who can save his country is the one his country refuses to believe? What happens when the future of flight depends on a single engineer the government refuses to fund? Coventry, 1911. A boy tears apart bicycle engines on a cold kitchen floor. Frank Whittle doesn't play. He disassembles, memorizes, rebuilds. While other children kick balls, he reads combat reports from Great War aces. He sketches propellers in school margins. Flight isn't a dream, it's an obsession. 1923, age 16. He applies to the RAF, rejected within minutes. Too small, 5'3", underweight, unfit for service. Most men would stop. Whittle doesn't know how. He trains in secret, runs until his lungs burn, lifts weights in a freezing garage, forces his body past every natural limit. 6 months later, he reapplies. Accepted. RAF Cranwell, 1926. Ground school. Instructors drill cadets on piston engines, the only engines that exist. Heavy blocks of metal. Violent vibration. Cylinders firing in sequence, shaking the entire airframe apart. Whittle sits in the back and sees what no one else sees. Piston engines are dying. They shake violently above 15,000 feet. They choke in thin air. They trap every fighter below 200 mile range. Britain's entire air defense is built on technology that cannot survive the altitudes coming. He raises his hand, asks a question that changes history. What if we remove the propeller entirely? Instructors laugh. Then how would it fly? Whittle sketches on scrap paper. Air enters a tube, compresses, burns continuously, expands through turbine blades, thrust pushes forward. No propeller, no pistons, no shaking, no ceiling. His final thesis at Cranwell is a manifesto aircraft will fly at 500 meters at 50,000 feet altitudes where propellers suffocate and jets thrive. His instructors mark it, interesting theory unsuitable for practical application. He files patent 347-206 anyway, January 16, 1930. Then he waits for anyone to believe him. British Thomson Houston reviews the patent, declines. Interesting but impractical. Vickers reviews it, declines. Materials don't exist. Rolls-Royce reviews it, declines. Combustion is uncontrollable. The patent costs £5 annually to maintain. Whittle earns £8 per week. He pays it himself. Industry delivers the same 3 verdicts. Materials will melt at those temperatures. Compressors will stall and explode. Continuous combustion cannot be controlled. The patent lapses in 1935. No manufacturer renews it. No government agency intervenes. The idea enters public domain free for anyone to steal. Germany requests a copy through diplomatic back channels. The Air Ministry refuses to share it officially, but technical journals circulate freely. German engineers read them. One name appears repeatedly in Luftwaffe research files: Hans von Ohain. Whittle is assigned to RAF engineering school. He teaches young cadets how to repair the very engines he knows are obsolete. At night alone in cramped quarters, he refines his jet design, knowing war is coming, knowing Britain is blind. The global economy collapses. Britain slashes military budgets. Experimental programs are canceled across the board. Whittle's idea, already rejected, fades into bureaucratic obscurity. Europe begins to rearm. Hitler rebuilds the Luftwaffe in secret, then in the open. Messerschmitt and Heinkel factories hum day and night. Germany develops the Bf 109 350 MPHH faster than anything Britain flies. Britain responds by building more Spitfires, elegant, deadly, powered by propellers. Whittle watches the arms race accelerate and realizes the horrifying truth: Britain is preparing to fight the last war, not the next one. Speed, not agility, will decide air superiority, and Britain is building for agility. His letters to the Air Ministry go unanswered. His appeals to manufacturers are ignored. His warnings about German jet research are dismissed as paranoia. The sky fills with propellers, thousands of them, spinning uselessly toward a future they cannot reach. The war Britain prepared for was already obsolete, and only one man saw it coming. 1930, Whittle returns to flying duties. He climbs into Bulldogs and Harts biplanes that seem fast until you've imagined 500 mm reek. Every flight reminds him what's coming. Every vibration through the stick tells him Britain is trapped. He writes letters obsessively. To the Air Ministry, to Rolls-Royce, to Vickers, to anyone with money and vision. Nothing. Silence. Not even rejection letters, just void. 1935. Germany unveils the Bf 109 at a public demonstration. 350 meters, climbing faster than anything in the RAF inventory. Whittle writes again. Urgent. Desperate. Britain is falling behind. Still nothing. The obsession begins to consume him. His wife Dorothy watches him sketch turbines during dinner. On napkins, on envelopes, on the backs of bills they can't afford to pay. He talks in his sleep about compression ratios. He stops sleeping altogether. She begs him to let it go. He can't. The idea is alive inside him, burning hotter than any combustion chamber. 1936. Two former RAF classmates visit his home, Rolf Dudley Williams and James Tinling. They've heard rumors about Whittle's engine. They want details. Whittle spreads blueprints across the kitchen table, explains the centrifugal compressor, the continuous burn, the turbine feedback loop. They sit in silence. Then Tinling speaks. We believe you. They approach Lancelot Law White, an investment banker with aviation interests. White examines the patents, asks one question, can you build it? Whittle answers, give me £2,000 in 6 months. White writes the check. Powerjets Ltd is founded in March 1936. Not a factory, not a laboratory, a rented foundry in Lutterworth, Leicestershire. The building leaks rain. The floor is cracked concrete. There is no heat. Whittle hires machinists who trust his voice more than his credentials, welders who work for delayed wages, men who understand that genius looks like madness until it succeeds. He designs every component himself: the centrifugal compressor, the combustion chamber, the turbine wheel spinning at speeds that shouldn't be possible. April 12, 1937. First ignition test. Fuel flows. The compressor spins, air compresses, ignition triggers. The chamber erupts, orange flame, then red, then white hot. The roar shakes the building. RPM climbs 10,000, 12,000, 13,000 past every safety limit. Whittle screams to shut it down. The fuel valve jams. The engine screams louder, a banshee wail that shatters windows. A mechanic lunges at the manual shutoff, slams it closed. The turbine winds down. Silence falls like a curtain. Inspection reveals disaster. The combustion chamber is cracked through. Turbine blades are warped like melted wax. The compressor housing is scorched, black metal turned to carbon. Tests erupt into chaos. Fuel ignites uncontrollably. Turbine seize mid-spin compressors scream toward runaway destruction. Whittle doesn't sleep that night, or the next. He rewrites combustion sequences, adjusts fuel injection angles, sources new alloys that barely exist in 1937. Second test, 10 seconds of controlled burn. Then the turbine seizes. Metal fuses to metal. Third test, 30 seconds. A turbine blade shatters. Shrapnel punches through the casing, embedding in the concrete wall 6 inches deep. Whittle collapses. May 1937. Nervous exhaustion. Hospitalized for a week. Doctors order rest. He signs himself out after 3 days. His hands develop a permanent tremor. His sleep fractures into 90-minute intervals. He drinks tea constantly, 12 cups a day, then 20. His weight drops from 140 pounds to 115. Dorothy stops recognizing the man she married. Fourth test. The engine runs for 2 minutes. Stable. The roar settles into a deep, controlled thunder. Thrust gauge reads 480 pounds. Not enough to lift an aircraft, but enough to prove it's real. The Air Ministry finally sends an observer. Flight Lieutenant Pat Johnson arrives skeptical, leaves shaken. His report reads, promising but years from operational viability. The ministry offers $5,000, a fraction of what's needed, just enough to continue dying slowly. Whittle accepts. He has no choice. He redesigns the turbine 17 times. Each iteration costs weeks. Each test consumes money faster than White can raise it. He reuses scorched components, begs $2,000 more from British Thomson Houston, fine-tunes air-fuel balance through relentless, brutal iteration. Engineers work through winters without heat. Machinists work without pay. Everyone knows this either works or they've wasted years of their lives on a madman's dream. September 1st, 1939. Germany invades Poland. Britain declares war 2 days later. Whittle writes to the Air Ministry again, the jet engine can reach 400 millitars and 40,000 feet. Nothing Germany has can touch it. Fund this now or lose air superiority within 2 years. The reply arrives 3 weeks later. Interesting proposal, not currently a priority. Spitfire production remains primary focus. Then intelligence reports begin filtering through RAF channels. Fragments, rumors, intercepted communications. Germany is testing something. Heinkel factories in Rostock, a secret project. An engine with no propeller. Hans von Ohain, a physicist, backed by Ernst Heinkel's industrial empire. Unlimited funding, factory support, government priority. August 27, 1939, the Heinkel He-178 takes off from Rostock Marina He. 4 days before Britain declares war, the world's first turbojet-powered flight, Germany wins the race. Whittle learns about it through a memo. Not a phone call, not a meeting. A memo slipped under other paperwork. He reads it standing in his freezing workshop. Rain drips through the roof onto blueprints. His hands shake so badly he can't hold the paper. He sits on the concrete floor, puts his head in his hands. Dorothy finds him there 2 hours later. She doesn't ask what's wrong. She already knows. Germany flew first. Whittle's engine, rejected, unfunded, dismissed, has been overtaken by the enemy. Command blocks his further appeals, calls his warnings alarmist. The Air Ministry focuses on proven technology. Merlin engines, propeller-driven fighters, incremental improvements. The idea that consumed Whittle's health, his marriage, his sanity edges toward extinction as Europe arms for total war. The future of air warfare had just taken off, and Britain wasn't on it. Lutterworth, 1940. A foundry of heat and metal becomes his front line. Rain leaks through the roof onto workbenches. The workshop is freezing. Whittle's team works through nights that blur into mornings. Across the Channel, Germany controls the skies over France. The Luftwaffe masses for invasion. Spitfires and Hurricanes hold the line in the Battle of Britain, but barely. Pilots win through courage, not technology. The aircraft are evenly matched. Whittle knows what's coming next. The second phase won't be won by bravery. It will be won by speed. Jets can break 500 mph. Propellers cannot. The side that fields jets first owns the future. He makes the most critical decision of the entire project: centrifugal compressor over axial. Germany is building axial compressors more efficient, more elegant, more complex. Von Ohein's design requires precision manufacturing and months of development. Whittle chooses the centrifugal. Simple, brutal, fast to build. Air spins inward, compresses, radially feeds into the combustion chamber. It's less efficient, but it works with 1940 materials and 1940 tooling. Pragmatism over perfection. Survival over elegance. The combustion chamber becomes his proving ground. Fuel must burn completely. Incomplete combustion creates soot clogs, turbines, kills, thrust ends the program. He runs tests obsessively. Air-fuel ratios measured in fractions. Too rich flames extinguish engine chokes. Too lean temperatures spike beyond what metal can survive. He places 16 fuel nozzles in a ring, tests spray patterns, adjusts chamber length, modifies airflow paths with handmade baffles. Every test costs money he doesn't have. Every failure costs time Britain doesn't have. Temperatures inside the chamber exceed 500 degrees C. Standard steel warps like clay. Aluminum melts, cast iron cracks. He contacts metallurgists across England. They recommend nickel-chromium alloys, expensive, rare, almost impossible to source during wartime rationing. He finds a supplier, pays triple the pre-war price. The ministry refuses to reimburse him. Hot gases strike the turbine wheel at supersonic velocity. The wheel spins, driving the compressor. One moving assembly, elegant in principle, a nightmare in execution. Turbine blades flex under heat and centrifugal force. Stress cracks appear after minutes. Blades snap. The engine devours itself. Whittle reinforces the blades, makes them thicker, heavier, less efficient but survivable. Then a test engine holds steady. The scream settles into controlled thunder. No vibration, no runaway, no destruction. December 1940. 20 minutes of continuous burn. Thrust 860 pounds. Enough to lift an aircraft. He stares at the gauge, afraid to believe it. 20 minutes. After 3 years of explosion, seizures, and collapse, 20 minutes of sustained, controllable power. He writes to the Air Ministry. The engine is ready for flight trials. The ministry schedules a demonstration. February 1941. Air Commodore Tedder arrives. Sir Wilfrid Freeman. Senior officials who've ignored Whittle for a decade. Whittle starts the engine. The whine builds to a shriek. The turbine spins to full speed. Thrust gauge climbs, 860 pounds, holding steady. The officials watch in silence. No one speaks. The sound is alien, no pistons hammering, no propeller beating air. Just a rising, relentless scream. Freeman leans toward Tedder, whispers, "If this works, we've been fools for 10 years. The demonstration runs for 20 minutes. Flawless. The engine that wasn't supposed to exist proves it can fly. The ministry authorizes a flight engine, contracts Gloucester Aircraft to build an airframe, the E-288T-39. Small, light, experimental, designed entirely around Whittle's engine. Then bureaucracy strikes. The ministry assigns Rover an automobile manufacturer to handle production. Rover has factories. Rover has workers. Rover has no idea how a jet engine works. Whittle is forbidden from interfering. Security protocols. Chain of command. He watches from the outside as Rover engineers modify his designs without understanding them. Components fail. Engines seize on test stands. Production delays accumulate. Whittle begs for access. Denied. Rover insists they can solve the problems independently. His health unravels completely. Insomnia becomes permanent. His hands shake so badly he can't write legibly. He drinks coffee and tea in rotation just to stay conscious. His vision blurs during meetings. Doctors diagnose complete nervous exhaustion. Order 6 months of bed rest. He refuses. Then Whittle commits a forbidden act. He secretly ships an engine to the United States, labeled Whittle to avoid detection. Delivered to General Electric under covert agreement authorized by the ministry but hidden from public record. America needs jets. Britain needs America in the war. The trade is strategic. General Electric, a company that understands turbines, compressors, and high-temperature alloys, reverse engineers Whittle's design in 6 months. Bell Aircraft mounts it in the XP-59 era Comet, October 1, 1942. America's first jet-powered flight. The United States enters the jet age before Britain finishes production. Back in England, Rover's failures multiply. Engines overheat, compressors stall. The ministry debates cancellation. Then the E-2839 flies at Cranwell, May 15, 1941. 17 minutes, faster than a Spitfire in level flight. Churchill hears the report. Orders 1,000 engines immediately. Rover is removed from the program. Rolls-Royce takes over engineers who understand precision, who respect Whittle's tolerances, who can manufacture at scale without guessing. Whittle shares everything with Rolls-Royce. Every measurement, every failure, every lesson learned through years of exploding metal. He knows what it means. Nationalization, loss of control. His company dissolved into government ownership, but the war cannot pause for patents. Britain needs jets now. Rolls-Royce refines the W2 engine into the well-and reliable, powerful, mass-producible. Production begins. 50 engines, then hundreds. The Gloucester Meteor moves toward operational status. Twin-engine jet fighter, armed, fast, real. Whittle watches it happen from the outside. His engine, his design, his life's work becoming someone else's victory. He collapses again. June 1943. Complete breakdown, hospitalized. Doctors demand 6 months of rest. He returns after 2 weeks. His marriage disintegrates. Dorothy can no longer reach the man she married. He lives inside the engine now. It consumed him years ago. Power Jets produces 50 engines. Then the government nationalizes the company. January 1944. Whittle resigns. No authority, no control. A consulting role with no power. His team dissolves. Engineers scatter to Rolls-Royce, de Havilland, Armstrong, Siddeley. The engine survives. The man who built it does not. The sky was opening, but the cost was already paid in full. May 15, 1941. Cranwell. Dawn breaks cold and clear. Test pilot Jerry Sayer climbs into the E-2839. The cockpit is cramped. No propeller visible ahead, just empty air and a stub nose that looks unfinished. Ground crew step back. The engine whines to life. Not the familiar cough and roar of a Merlin, something alien. A rising scream that builds in pitch like a turbine spinning toward infinity. The aircraft accelerates. Smooth, no vibration, no shaking. Sayer feels thrust press him into the seat, constant, relentless, unlike anything he's flown. At 370 mph, the E-28-39 lifts effortlessly. The wheels leave the runway. The aircraft climbs without effort. 17 minutes aloft. Sayer banks, tests controls, reports calm handling, no buffeting faster than a Spitfire in level flight. On the grass below, Whittle stands motionless. He is grounded, medically unfit. His hands tremble. His body weighs less than it did 3 years ago. He has begged to fly this aircraft. Been denied every time. He watches the machine he built carve through morning sky. Other men fly it. Other men feel the thrust. Other men report the triumph. He feels nothing but exhaustion. The E-2839 lands. Perfectly. Ground crew sprint toward it. Engineers shout, officers applaud. Whittle turns and walks back toward the hangar. Alone, the jet proves itself. Within weeks, the Air Ministry orders development of an operational fighter, the Gloucester Meteor. Twin engines, armed with cannons, built for combat. But Germany is faster. July 1942. Intelligence reports confirm the Messerschmitt Me-262 has completed successful test flights. Twin Jumo 004 engines, 540 mph. Faster than any Allied fighter in service or development. The Me-262 is operational. Hitler personally inspects prototypes, then makes a catastrophic decision. He demands the aircraft be modified as a bomber, not a fighter. The Luftwaffe loses months converting the design. Precious months. Britain accelerates Meteor development, but production remains tangled in bureaucracy and Rover's failures. Whittle makes a decision that will haunt him. He cannot wait for Rover. He cannot wait for British bureaucracy. The war is escalating. Jets will decide air superiority. If Britain delays, Germany wins. In secret, without official authorization but with quiet ministry approval, he arranges to ship a complete W1X engine to the United States. The engine is crated, labeled Whittle to obscure its contents, shipped under diplomatic protection across the Atlantic during the height of the U-boat campaign. October 1942. The crate arrives at General Electric's facility in Massachusetts. GE engineers experienced with turbines for power generation recognize brilliance immediately. They reverse engineer Whittle's design in 6 months. Not stealing, adapting. America needs jets. Britain needs America fully committed to the war. Bell Aircraft receives the engine, mounts it in the XP-59 Aerocomet, a test aircraft, experimental. Rushed. October 1, 1942, Muroc Dry Lake, California. The XP-59 lifts off. America's first jet-powered flight. The United States enters the jet age before Britain completes production of a single operational fighter. Whittle learns about it through official channels weeks later. He feels no anger, no betrayal, just exhaustion. He gave them everything because losing the war mattered more than national pride. Back in England, Rover continues to fail. Engines overheat on test stands. Compressors stall. Combustion chambers crack. The ministry seriously debates canceling the entire jet program. Then a breakthrough. No one expected Rolls-Royce volunteers to take over. Ernest Hives, managing director of Rolls-Royce, visits Power Jets personally. He examines Whittle's designs, asks detailed questions about tolerances, materials, and combustion dynamics. Whittle answers every question, shares every hard-won lesson. Hives makes an offer Rolls-Royce will handle production. Whittle retains technical oversight. Full collaboration. The Air Ministry approves the transfer. January 1943. Rover is removed. Rolls-Royce builders of the legendary Merlin engine takes control. Within months, the difference is night and day. Rolls-Royce engineers understand precision. They respect Whittle's tolerances. They machine components to exact specifications. They don't modify designs arbitrarily. The W2 engine is refined into the Welland. Reliable, powerful, producible at scale. But the cost to Whittle is invisible and total. June 1943. Complete nervous breakdown, hospitalized. Doctors order 6 months of rest. He returns to Power Jets after 2 weeks. His marriage deteriorates. Dorothy can no longer reach him. He lives inside the engine. It consumes every thought. Power Jets reaches 50 engines produced. Then the government nationalizes the company. Whittle resigns. His team dissolves. He is given a consulting role, no authority, no control. The Meteor enters service, July 1944, number E616, Squadron RAF, tasked with intercepting V-1 flying bombs. The Meteor's speed advantage is decisive. Pilots chase V-1s across the channel. Some shoot them down, others tip them with their wingtips, sending the bombs spiraling into the sea. The Meteor proves reliable. The ME-262 is faster but fragile. JUMO engines fail after 10 hours of operation. Pilots bail out mid-flight. Fuel shortages ground entire squadrons. Germany fields 1,400 MB-262s. Only 200 see combat. Logistics collapse. The Luftwaffe disintegrates. The Meteor and Me-262 never meet in combat. Both operate in different theaters. Both sides avoid direct confrontation. Historians will debate for decades what would have happened. Whittle watches from the ground as his engine and von Ohain's engine reshape warfare without meeting. January 1948, Buckingham Palace. King George VI presents Whittle with a knighthood. Sir Frank Whittle, the honor he was told would never come. The Royal Commission on Awards to Inventors grants him $100,000. Compensation for patents the government took. Recognition arrives after his company is dissolved, after his team scatters, after his marriage ends, after his health is destroyed. He stands in the palace and accepts the honor. Photographers capture the moment. He does not smile. Years later, he will meet Hans von Ohain at a technical conference. Two engineers, two nations, one invention. They shake hands, speak briefly about metallurgy. Do not discuss the war. Von Ohain will write him a letter. We both walked the same path. The engine consumed us both. Victory had arrived, but the men who built it were already ghosts. August 1944. The Meteor lifts twin jets shrieking through high, thin air where speed decides survival. Below V1, flying bombs streak across the channel. Pulse jet engines throb at 400 mph. Spitfires struggle to catch them. The Meteor climbs to 30,000 feet. The air is thin, cold, silent. It closes effortlessly. 450 mph. Steady, no vibration. Pilots intercept V1s by tipping them mid-air. The Meteor's steady thrust outrunning the pulse jet bombs. Flying Officer Dean intercepts a V1. He fires, misses. Ammunition jammed. He pulls alongside. Matches speed. Tips his wing under the V1's wing. Disrupts airflow. The bomb rolls, spirals, crashes into the sea. The tactic spreads. Meteors tip dozens of V1s. No ammunition wasted, pure physics. The jet engine proves itself not through dogfights, but through reliability. It does not shake, it does not choke, it runs. Headlines erupt. Britain has built an engine that sucks like a Hoover. Whittle watches from the ground begging to fly. He is grounded as medically unfit. He watches from airfields, from control towers, from the ground. Other pilots fly the machine he built. They report calm handling, smooth power, confidence at altitude. The Meteor never engages the Me-262 in combat. Both sides operate in different theaters. Both sides avoid the confrontation. Historians debate what would have happened. Against Germany's Me-262, fast, but crippled by fragile JUMO engines, the Meteor proves reliable. The Me-262 is faster, but fragile. Engines fail after 10 hours. Fuel runs out. Pilots eject. The Meteor is slower, but reliable. Rolls-Royce engines run for hundreds of hours. Pilots trust them. Germany collapses. The Luftwaffe disintegrates as the jet age begins. The Me-262 becomes a symbol of desperation, fast, deadly, and too late. The Meteor becomes a symbol of progress, steady, dependable, and ready for the future. Whittle stands at RAF Farnborough. A Meteor roars overhead. He closes his eyes. The whine is familiar. The sound of vindication. But vindication tastes like ash. The sky had changed, but the man who changed it could not follow. 1945. War ends. Power Jets reaches 50 engines, then is nationalized. Whittle resigns. His team dissolves. Whittle resigns from the RAF. 1948. Rank Air Commodore. Service complete. His marriage strains under years of collapse and obsession. Dorothy files for divorce. He does not contest it. He receives a knighthood and $100,000 recognition, arriving after the cost is paid. Britain attempts to lead the jet age. The de Havilland Comet enters service, 1952. The world's first jet airliner. Elegant, fast, revolutionary. The Comet airliner rises, proving British leadership in commercial aviation. Then the Comet crashes. Metal fatigue around square windows. 3 aircraft lost. The program halts. Square windows fail under pressure. The program falters. Boeing and Douglas study the failures. They build the 707 and DC-8 with round windows. The United States dominates commercial aviation. Britain cancels the M52 supersonic research aircraft and early turbofan projects. The U.S. surges ahead. America builds the Bell X-1. Chuck Yeager breaks Mach 1 October 1947. Whittle's bypass patent becomes the heart of the modern turbofan, most thrust produced by efficient cool airflow. Rolls-Royce builds an empire on his ideas. The RB2111, the Trent, engines that power 747s and A380s. Whittle moves to the United States, 1976, teaches at the Naval Academy, writes, reflects. He receives the Order of Merit, 1986, the highest civilian honor Britain can bestow. Hans von Ohain, his rival, sends a letter. We both walked the same path. The engine consumed us both. Captured German files show von Ohain faced the same brutal limits. Their rivalry resolves into one truth: the jet engine consumes its creators. They meet once. 1978, a technical conference. They shake hands. They speak briefly about metallurgy. They do not discuss the war. 2 engineers, 2 nations, 1 invention. Whittle dies. August 8, 1996. Age 89. Buried in Arlington National Cemetery. America honors him. Britain remembers him. The future belonged to neither, but both made it possible. The jet engine did not win World War II. It arrived too late, too few, too experimental, but it defined everything that followed. Billions fly each year. A leaking shed becomes the root of global aviation. 707, 747s, and countless airliners shrink oceans to hours. 1950s, jet fighters dominate Korea. MiG-15s and F-86 Sabres clash at 600 mph. Propeller aircraft vanish from frontline service. 1952. The Comet proves commercial jets are viable, then crashes, teach the world how to build them safely. 1953. The Boeing 707 enters service. Transatlantic flight shrinks from 12 hours to 6. 1954. The 747 carries 400 passengers across oceans. Air travel becomes affordable. The world compresses. Lightning fighters and Vulcan bombers guard the Cold War sky using principles Whittle outlined decades earlier. 1976. Concorde breaks Mach 2. London to New York in 3 hours. Whittle's 500 pH prediction becomes quaint. Modern turbofans, descendants of Whittle's bypass, patent power every airliner. The CFM56, the GE90, the Rolls-Royce Trent. Military jets evolve. The English Electric Lightning, the F-4 Phantom, the F-15 Eagle. Mach 2 becomes standard. Stealth fighters, the F-117, the F-22, the F-35. Engines designed for low signature and high efficiency. Space exploration. Rocket turbopumps use principles Whittle refined. High-speed compressors. Controlled combustion. Thermal management. The global economy depends on jets, cargo, passengers, connectivity. 3 billion passengers fly annually. Whittle's centrifugal compressor dismissed as crude remains in use. Helicopter engines, small jets, auxiliary power units. His struggle becomes a case study. How bureaucracy stifles innovation. How war accelerates progress by consuming creators. The jet age is his legacy. The cost is his life. He shrank the world and the world forgot the price. Across the oceans, a fading jet wine carries the memory of a cadet no one believed. Passengers read, sleep, ignore the miracle beneath them. The wine fades into white noise. The engine runs, steady, invisible, reliable. Frank Whittle sits in a lecture hall in Annapolis, 1980. He explains compressor aerodynamics to cadets. His hands still tremble. A student asks why Britain didn't support him sooner. Whittle pauses. They couldn't see what didn't exist yet. He dies 16 years later. The engines he imagined outlive him by centuries. Every flight carries his ghost. Every turbine spinning at 30,000 feet remembers a freezing shed in Lutterworth. Every passenger crossing an ocean in hours inherits his obsession. Whittle shrank the world, but his struggle shows how war accelerates progress by consuming the people who create it. War accelerates progress, but progress consumes its creators. He paid for it with his health, his family, and his peace. The sky remembers. The world forgets. They didn't conquer the sky, they learned to respect it. And sometimes respect costs everything. If you found meaning in Whittle's struggle, explore the stories of other engineers who built the impossible links in the description below.